I understand the mindset of people that don't want any of this to happen. I do understand it. But I do think that they don't understand nature. I really don't think they understand that this is the best death these animals will ever experience. And they're not going to live forever in the wild. In the wild, they're going to be torn apart by something bigger than them. That's just how it goes. 100% of the time. Or they freeze to death, or they starve to death.
Or they're starving, they walk down on the road to try to find some food in the town, they get hit by a semi-truck.
Yeah, that happens
sucks
too. Yeah, and if I have a buddy who lives in Iowa, and when you drive in his neighborhood at night, you better go 35 miles an hour, because those fuckers are just darting out in front of the street left and right. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's the solution? Don't drive cars. Drive your bike everywhere, man. Yeah. Well, okay. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I get it. I get where those people are coming from. They're coming from a place of compassion. But it becomes very culty, and it becomes very team-oriented. They're team vegan.
And there's like words, we're circling back where, you know, when you're trying to have that middle ground, that discussion, that conversation, there's like this pre-assigned talking points.
Yeah.
Where everybody from every respective side makes essentially the same argument. And you're just regurgitating what you've heard other people say, but there's no new thought. There's there's no one taking a step to either side. Like, okay, do you want, maybe there's something I'm not seeing here. Let me look at it from this perspective, or vice versa, where this side, the hunters are like, no, you stupid snowflake, you know, go get your Starbucks latte, you know, with your soy milk. But they're never looking at it from anything new. Right. They're just regurgitating their talking points.
Like when you said gun control and people freaked out.
Freaked out because I didn't stay to the script. Right. And there's a script. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you pull up any of my social, you will see that, what you should have said was, or, hey, you know, shall not be infringed upon. Yeah, man, I got it. Yeah. Shall not be infringed upon. Believe it to death. Have you fought for it? Have you bled for it? You've been blown up for it? You've been shot at? I have. You know, I really believe in this shit. But I didn't stay to the script, and then I get murdered by both sides. So then how do we... I mean, you do a pretty good job. So teach me, Joe. How do you bring people in to have a talk?
There's got to be a lot of people that disagree with you and say I do a terrible job, that I repeat the same things over and over again, and I agree with them for a certain amount of the conversations, like this one. I mean, I've had this conversation about conservation and animals 100 times, but I think it's worth having 100 more, because I think it's an important, that if someone is listening to this podcast and they didn't understand how it all works, and they didn't understand that people who hunt and eat meat, they're not monsters. They're not evil people. Just like people who eat grain aren't monsters, because you callously disregard the lives of mice and rats and all the things that get ground up in combines and bunnies. Like, if you buy grain, large-scale agriculture is bad, period. It's bad in terms of factory farming, but it's also bad in terms of growing food. If you grow 1,000 acres of corn, you are absolutely displacing wildlife, and when that stuff gets harvested, you see vultures fly over those fields, and there's a reason. It's because there's a bunch of dead things. In fact, more dead lives occur in a pound of grain than occur in a pound of beef. Because if you think that a cow is more valuable than a bunny because it's larger, like, you've got some weird life thing going on in your own head.
Okay, you tell me how to balance the soul's worth on body weight.
Exactly. And how do you feel about insects? Because they are large-scale poisoning those fucking insects, and you know it. Everybody knows it. And they're grinding those fuckers up with earthworms and mice and gophers and chipmunks and anything else that gets stuck in those wheels. Yeah. That is just how large-scale agriculture works. So unless you have some isolated farm where everything's fenced in, and you only have, you know, a certain amount of acreage, and that farm feeds you, well, you are karma free. And congratulations to you. You figured out how to do it. But most of us who buy pasta, if you go and buy bread in the store, you're paying someone who's killed a large amount of living things in order to harvest that grain. That's just a fact. Yeah. It's just a fact. And it's an inconvenient fact that they like to look at with blinders on, because they you know, like, I'm hashtag cruelty free, not to that fucking bunny rabbit that's a part of your tofu, because this is what's really going on. I mean, a good part of the vitamin B that a lot of vegans get is from ground up bugs that's ground up into their grain and ground up into their vegetables. I mean, this is just, you can't get around that.
No. I mean, not if you are being real. If you're being real,
yeah.
And that maybe that's the problem in the first place is nobody is going to have the courage to come into that middle ground and let go of all of their baggage and all of their bullshit.
Yeah, and if you're cool with eating bugs, you should eat crickets. Get cricket meal. Eat cricket protein. It's fucking good for you. If you don't want to eat animals, you're like, I'm just not into anything that's warm. Okay. I have a friend who only eats fish. And I go, why? He goes, fish don't even take care of their babies. I was like, ooh, good point.
That is a good point.
Fuck those fish.
Fish are yummy too.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want to kill a mammal. He goes, I don't want to eat a mammal. He's like, mammals take care of their babies. Their babies milk from their udders. I'm like, okay, I get it.
My wife was a pescatarian for a while. That didn't last.
It's just not the best source of nutrients.
No. Well, it was when she's pregnant and the doctor's like, all right, so you're 90 pounds and I need you to put on like 20 more pounds really fast and you're not going to do it eating halibut. You know?
Yeah.
So.